Today we're going to take a look at a hypothetical 2024 presidential matchup, and we've got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for the Democrats going up against Mitt Romney for the Republicans. And this was suggested to me a long time ago in the comments, so let's try to get into this one. It's difficult. There's way too many unknowns to have any confidence. In this, did RFK start off running as a Democrat and then turn independent like he actually did, and then he still ends up being the nominee for the Dems? Or did none of that happen and he's just the nominee for the Democrats from the get-go? You could pretty much play it out either way. That's why your map is going to look different. Either way, I don't think he would get full establishment support. I'm assuming he's going to get a little bit more than he would if he ran as a pure independent. But there are going to be Democrats that are not going to want to vote for this guy. In the end, a lot are going to vote for the party and end up supporting him, but there's going to be a good chunk of your establishment Democrats that are going to sit this one out. Also, the support he would get from progressives is going to be up for debate. Now, on the other side, Mitt Romney, who knows what kind of campaign he would run? Would he come out and run against Donald Trump the entire time? If he goes that hard, then he's going to lose all the support from the Trump base. I'm assuming he's going to moderate somewhat and try to bridge the gap. He's going to get a lot of establishment support, that's for sure. He's more of your classic fiscally responsible type of Republican. So he's not going to be all that relatable with blue-collar working-class voters that Trump was able to ignite. However, Romney is going to get back enough of the Republicans that thought Donald Trump was just not their brand. He's also going to get some Democrats that think RFK is too out there. In this, RFK is going to come off as more of a fighter, and he's going to have more independent appeal because he's going to have a couple of opinions that don't fit neatly into a box. So Romney's going to have some reduction in Trump support. Kennedy's going to have some reduction in establishment Democrat support. Let's try to go through this. I spent time thinking about every state. I kept making changes. Eventually, I had to pick something. So let's go through this. We'll talk a little bit more about it as we go and a little bit at the end. So we'll start in Alaska. I think that's going to be over 10 and safe for Romney. Hawaii is so blue, it's going to be safe for Kennedy. Now, if we go back up to the West Coast, Washington and Oregon, they're going to go blue. They're going to go to Kennedy. I have them at a safe margin, but the margin is going to be reduced. I think it's going to get down to low double digits. I think there's enough Democrats here that are going to just say they don't want to deal with Kennedy. Some of them are going to sit home. Some of them are going to say Romney is an acceptable Republican, but in the end, they're still going to be safe. California is going to be safe. Next door in Nevada, Kennedy should have some working class appeal in Clark County, but once you even everything out, there's going to be enough Democrats that are going to sit home. Romney's going to get more than moderates, and he's going to win the state by a low single-digit lean margin. Idaho and Utah is safe for Romney. In Arizona, Romney is a more establishment Republican that this state is open to, so he's definitely going to do better than somebody that's loyal to the Trump brand. That's going to take this all the way up to about a 4 to 5 point lean margin for Romney. Montana, Wyoming, red states safe for Romney. Colorado, I think, is going to get down under 10 once some of the Democrats decide to sit home. It's not going to get much lower than that, but Kennedy is going to get it by a likely margin. New Mexico is going to be about 4.5 to 5 points leans for Kennedy. North and South Dakota safe for Romney. Nebraska at large safe for Romney. The 2nd district, it's more suburban, it's higher educated, it's open to somebody like Romney, so he's going to get it by a low single-digit lean margin. Kansas and Oklahoma safe for Romney. Texas, I think, will be high single digits, likely for Romney. Up to Minnesota, this is going to be more competitive, but Kennedy is going to get it by a lean margin. Iowa is going to be likely for Romney. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, safe for Romney. Into the Rust Belt we go to Wisconsin, and these states are a challenge. There's no doubt the Trump brand has appeal here. Romney's going to get some of those votes, but he's definitely not going to get all of them. Some of them are even going to cross over and go to Kennedy, but the more classic Republicans in the suburbs and some of the Democrats in Dane or Milwaukee County, they're going to go the other way and actually come to Romney. So in the end, I do think Romney is going to get the state by anywhere from 1 to 3 points. Illinois, low double digits, safe for Kennedy. Michigan is going to be similar to Wisconsin. The union support should be there for Kennedy. But in the end, I do think that he's going to lose more of the establishment Democrat support. So that's why I do have this state going red for Romney by a low single-digit margin. Indiana, safe for Romney. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, safe for Romney. Down to Florida. Here's where the Trump brand is going to do better than the establishment brand, so Romney should do worse than someone like Trump. Kennedy also, I think, is going to have some appeal here again with some of those Trump voters. But the state has moved toward the right. It's still going to go red and leans for Romney. Up to Georgia. Here's a state considering the Atlanta suburbs and the rural red Trump counties. I have it going to Romney just over 5 points and likely. South Carolina safe for Romney. North Carolina leans for Romney. Jump up to Ohio. Here's another state where some of the Trump voters are going to cross over and go to Kennedy. But again, more establishment Democrats are either going to stay home, and some of them that are not a fan of the Trump brand are going to come over to Romney. It's a moderately red state. It's going to stay likely for Romney. West Virginia is safe for Romney. Now we go up to the corner, Maine at large. This is going to be likely for Kennedy. The first district is going to get narrower, but it's still going to be safe for Kennedy. The second district, this is a district that is more Trump friendly. Romney is going to try to appeal to these voters, but I don't think it's going to have a lot of effect. Kennedy seems like a better fit here. It's tough to gauge the margins, especially on a presidential level, how the state has drifted toward the right. In this, I do have Kennedy being able to pull it out and get it by a tilt margin. Next door in New Hampshire, this is another tough call. This seems like a state that would be open to some more independent type of thinking. That would be Kennedy. I guess it depends on how much the establishment distances itself from Kennedy. In the end, I think he's still going to be able to get it done and just barely hold on to it by a tilt margin. Now we've got the blue states. We've got Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. Some of these margins are narrower, but in the end, I think it was most reasonable to keep these at safe for Kennedy. Pennsylvania is going to be similar to the rest of the Rust Belt. Kennedy's going to ignite some voters, that's for sure. But in the Philadelphia suburbs, Romney is going to get a lot of those voters back, and that's how the state goes red and leans for Romney. The last state is Virginia. Northern Virginia should be much more open to Romney this time around, but there are going to be some voters that are just completely done with the GOP. Plus, the more rural counties in Western Virginia, there's no way Romney is going to get the kind of margins that Trump or Glenn Youngkin would get. So once you even it all out, I think it's going to stay blue. Kennedy's going to get it by a lean margin. So that's it. The final map is Mitt Romney winning it with 312, Kennedy getting 226. This was incredibly difficult. It's the kind of scenario where I'd probably make a lot of changes if I did it again in a week or two. There's a lot of different things you can emphasize because there's so many unknowns. All the different demographics and different issues are going to be anyone's guess. I tried to lay it out there as I went through all the states. Ultimately, I think Kennedy is going to have some excitement with independents, a small portion of the Trump base, and disaffected voters. However, I think the establishment is not going to be friendly to Kennedy. I'm not assuming he went as hard as he did and became a full independent, but I'm also not assuming he was cozy from the very beginning either. Romney's going to regain some of those classic Republicans that thought Trump was too much. He is going to lose some of the Trump base, that's for sure. But I think ultimately Romney is going to be cast as the safer choice. I get it, the base is not a fan of his anti-Trump stances. He's going to have to try to moderate that and bridge the gap, so I could see Kennedy doing a little bit better than this. But given Kennedy's portrayal in the media, I don't think it's going to be that great. Enough of the Trump base is going to end up voting for the party, plus enough suburban, higher educated, and wealthier voters are going to come back to Romney. I do think Kennedy has working class appeal, but once you even it all out, I think Romney's going to have the edge by at least a few points. I can't completely count out Kennedy, but eventually you got to come up with a map, so this is what I settled on. So let me know in the comments. What do you think about this crazy matchup? Do you think Romney has no appeal with the base? Kennedy's going to overpower any of the negative narratives cast about him? Or do you agree with this map, and whether you like it or not, you think Romney would ultimately be able to prevail? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.